Welcome to Paradox Rising Radio Podcast, where the world of dreamscapes and nightmares become your reality.
Welcome to this week's episode, The Cure, on Paradox Rising Radio Podcast. Arriving at the abandoned church, covered by the black shadows of night, the two escape into a sanctuary of penitence and architecture, hoping for some rest and shelter.
They will not look for us here, Christian. Not to fret, my son. Hiding in the very institution that seeks to destroy us is not the first place they will seek us out. We have time.
We've been hiding for days, Hector. When will we decide? When? Before it's too late? What is clouding your thoughts, Father, that it continues to delay our actions? We can be free of this. We can stop running.
The bright glow of the moonlight, shining through the beauty of stained-glassed saints, illuminates through the pews of the church and onto Hector.
We've been running from what we are for too long, my son. We can still escape this and continue on. Continue on and fight. With our numbers now, we can find a way. Have you not trusted me over all these years? Will you not trust me again?
Christian remembers Venice and a freedom that came to them with the cover of night. A hunger fulfilled without fear or remorse. Only indulgence and pleasure were pursued in a new world without consequence.
Awakening to screams and the crash of your spear upon them. You were there. With a swift blow to each heart, you protected our secret from the very start, from Venice and from the world. You were my savior, my father, to a dark rebirth to which I not yet knew. Gathering myself with the earth still upon me and the taste of the brick still in my mouth, I sat up in the pit, only to see miles of outstretched bodies of all those who had ended in this massive grave. With the bricks still contained within their mouths, the dead just lay there, rotting forever, forgotten by the aristocracy. Being exiled only a few days before to the island, the aristocracy actually believed that the outskirts on Lazaretto Nuovo would keep the plague and those that would rise from contaminating their precious lifestyle and the city, throwing us away like animals in a pit, placing bricks in our mouths. We were dying and too weak to do anything. I was a human being, damn it. I was alive and they took everything from me. All born of greed and fear. My beautiful life gone in an instant, until there before me, your outstretched hand lifted me up.
The plague was but an early excuse to hunt our kind in Venice and trap them there on that island. We have been known and hunted for many generations before you came to be, my son. But the aristocracy within Venice, with their wealth and resources, started their own society. A secret order of hunters throughout the whole of the Mediterranean, tracking and destroying us, pushing us back deep into hiding after 1,000 years of anonymity. I remember it like it was yesterday when I found you, clinging to life. The only soul still holding breath among a sea of dead. Your hand reaching up to me as if rising up from the ashes. I knew then, my decision, your rebirth, was inevitable. Coming onto the island that night, I believed I could save many of us. But with daylight approaching us, I was forced to make a grueling choice. Destroy my own kind before the fire of an approaching sunrise, or allow them to burn. When your hand broke through the pit of bodies reaching out to me, my decision was already made. The aristocracy, in all their incomprehension, believed that placing bricks within the mouth would bind and prevent us from rising. But it was I that was forced to make the choice. Can't you see, my son? That is why I can never take this cure. I must continue to take back what was stolen from me, my freedom.
Do you not remember life as it was before, Father? The beauty of the shining upon our faces, the sights and sounds of our cities connecting us all to one another. As civilization grew before our very eyes, the feeling of love, my Father, feeling which made us more alive than we could ever know. Do you not remember even the memory of a feeling or emotion, Father? Before you found me, I remember my Venice of 1629 and all its wonders as being a very special place and time to be a part of. We were the center of trade in the world, with my father being a merchant of imported goods from all about the known world. I became accustomed to the class and culture of the city. From learning new languages to studying with one of the greatest painters of our day in Tintoretto, I knew only happiness and contentment in my young life. The romanticism and beautiful architecture of this city of the water only added to its allure to outsiders, which was inevitably part of its downfall and the start of our great plague. Only with your guiding hand was I resurrected, to which I have been steadfast and by your side ever since. But can't you see, my Father, our chance to have that back is before us. All we need do is just to trust ourselves.
Startled by a sudden hard knock at the church's front doors, both Christian and Hector jump out of their church pews and onto their feet. Yelling through the protection of wood and steel comes a voice from outside in the darkness.
Please! They're coming! They are coming! I saw you both run in here, not even past the hour. The sunrise is fast approaching. I am one of you. Please! The Order is doing sweeps across the city. Please, you've got to let me in.
Hector and Christian rush to the front of the church and the other side of the large locked doors.
Quiet down. How did you find us here? Did you follow us through the city?
Please, you have to let me in. I managed to slip away undetected around the great center, where they weren't far behind. I only came upon you here, and now because my escape route has brought me this way. Nothing more. I swear to you.
Christian reaches out for the doors, ancient brass handles, wanting to help his own kind, feeling desperate to hear of any news of the sweeps or how close the Order is.
Father, please, we must.
Turning towards Christian on the inside of the lofty church doors, Hector tries to speak softly enough to not be overheard by the stranger on the other side.
Opening these doors, my son, you must understand. We open ourselves up to betrayal. There are many now, many that have given in to this new order and are infiltrating as spies among us. I do not wish to see any of our kind left behind, but we must be strong, my son. We must protect ourselves now so we can make it through the upcoming day and continue to fight.
Hector, grabbing Christian's arm, pulls them both back from the doors slowly as the desperate stranger continues to bang on the door and plead to them.
Please, help
Suddenly, a blaring thump crashes through the church sanctuary like a shockwave of fear and anticipation, silencing the despairing stranger from outside the safety of the doors. Running desperately down the church aisle to the back, a kaleidoscope of stained glass colors shining through reminds them of a fast approaching sunrise. The two look for cover beyond the pews and onto higher ground to a staircase leading to an upper level.
Here, son. Up here.
There's no real escape from up here. What are we doing? There's no time, Father. I'll go back down and secure a true hiding place until the full light of day passes, but we must hurry.
Looking down upon the whole of the church, its relics, its beauty, Hector laughs at the irony of their holy refuge with what they have become. Remembering days past in a time when hiding from hunters and the sunlight was all he knew, Hector contemplates if this was all worth it. His humanity but a distant memory, as real feeling and emotion were only a few of the countless prices of immortality.
Be still, my son. We remain here. Tell me, what do you see? We can now see our enemies before they descend upon us. Observe what's coming from above and plan. We'll remain here until dawn.
Christian, becoming frustrated, walks around this high ground, looking out the windows in search of oncoming soldiers and an unknown fate as Hector sits high upon the pulpit. Looking out over a newly constructed city of advanced weaponry and technology, Hector observes its new grand design in this foul year of our Lord of 4044. A far cry from the glory of his life in Troy and his battles with the Greeks, before the worries of a paranoid world separated by microchips and plastic. Long before corrupt nations built on entertainments of instant gratification destroy themselves from within. Long before the Order and their fight to eradicate what they perceived as the greatest threat to humanity with the cure.
As my second father beckoned me to awaken atop the funeral pyre, memories of my death and Achilles' blade haunted me. And that moment, I no longer sought a death of honor or my place amongst the Elysian fields. I instead yearned for life and a second chance to avenge my people, to hold my wife and child again, to feel, to love, to hate. I reached out for it all, but as his hand pulled me from the ashes, just as you had reached for mine, from that moment, I felt only a hunger and the desires of a great fulfillment, an animal, unleashed upon the world. My hedonism knew no bounds in the early days of my resurrection along the Aegean, its beauty hidden from me by the darkness I was now forced to live in. Watching my men, the once mighty warriors I shared the highest glory and honor with in battle, fall to dust. Watching my wife and child grow from afar, never being able to touch them again until their bodies would turn to ash. Seeing my once great city, my home, rise and fall over a millennia, I knew then I must embrace this new awakening and leave the tides of change along the Aegean to flow through the perils of history without me. And so I moved about the world in darkness, finding within me only an entity without remorse or true feeling, killing and taking all I could. My newfound powers of speed, strength and flight were but the first of many I would realize, to becoming this being of power and destruction.
And what of your rebellion, father? Your rise as our leader against the Order. What of those beginnings? Did you not come into power because you cared about your kind and didn't want to see us destroyed? Do you not want to care again?
Over 2,000 years of seeing nations crumble, and our kind continued to survive. I could see we were more resilient than I once believed, worthy of our cause, to live side by side with them, worthy to try to work with them and find peace, to try to research how to survive without killing to feed our hunger. Yes, I fought for all this in cooperation with the humans. I did all of this until the Order was formed, and their newly formed plan to eradicate us began. I did all this in the name of survival, so we may continue on. All of this from a driven instinct, as part of our self-preserving nature. Nothing more. All of this until the day I found you, my son. I saw in your face, as you reached out for me that day upon the pit, an innocence that I believed lost to me forever. In that moment, I dreamt of my human life, separated from me for over 4,000 years, the memory of emotions, of love and feeling. What it meant to be truly human flooded my consciousness. You taught me how to remember my son, to remember how it felt again. This is what I'm realizing this day, and the decision I must make with you by my side.
You will feel everything again, Father. That's what you fought all these years for with the humans. For a peaceful solution, that's what this cure does. We need not hunger or hide ever again. We can have our humanity back once more.
As 6 a.m. starts to chime on Christian's antique watch, the sunrise comes up on the horizon of the outskirts of the city. Shining a path straight toward them, Christian and Hector see the soldiers of the Order on their way down the street. As light starts to shine through the cracks and broken glass of the old church, Christian scrambles for the bottle, this simple vial of liquid that can save them both. Suddenly, the sounds of weaponry shatter the silence of the old church as gun blasts start crashing through the stained glass and security of the front doors. Open holes rain all through the church as the Order continue to fire. Lighting paths straight to their demise, Hector and Christian huddle under the only cover of the front pulpit.
We must change. Now, Father, embrace our future and be alive as we once did. We need not run ever again. We take it together, Father.
Christian, reaching into his pocket, pulls out the vials of blue liquid as the two of them look each other in the eyes one last time before both tilting their heads back in unison, drinking down the cure. Soldiers of the Order banging on the front doors of the church start to fade away as Hector and Christian stare into the unknown with horrific anticipation. Dropping to his back in pain as the cure begins to take hold, Hector looks up to see the cracked window of the story of Cain and his brother upon the cathedral glass. Writhing in pain now, Hector begins traveling. Seeing his past and present all at once, flashing before him, and his soul's journey returning to his body, he can feel all that it is to be human once again. Hector's eyes can only open slowly, like a newborn baby adjusting to the light of his world for the first time. With the beauty and warmth of the sun now overtaking the whole of the cathedral, Hector sees Christian and the Order suddenly standing over him.
You're a hard one to find, Hector, and even harder to kill. I'm sorry, but you won't be enjoying this cure, as we like to call it.
Christian, my son, what is happening here?
Oh yes. He was a tremendous help in finding and capturing you.
Hector, looking confused, looks at Christian and then back to the commander.
Oh, you didn't know? After all this time, you didn't even suspect anything. I would have expected more from the great leader of the rebellion, the great Hector of antiquity. I guess once a soldier, always a soldier. Loyal to the point of naivety, I suppose. I'm sorry to say, those closest to you are sometimes those we have to question the most, especially as men in our commanding positions. You see, Christian here, or your son, as your kind likes to put it, remembers you all too well. Why don't you tell him, boy?
The commander stares down at Christian, forcing him to confront Hector.
You betrayed me, Father. You betrayed all of us in Venice. You were there. You were part of them working with the Order to save yourself. They discovered you, who you were as the leader of the new rebellion, as you told them where the vampires were in the city. All this to save yourself. That's where they found and tortured my family, believing me to be hiding them within our homestead because of a bordering vampire lair within the confines of the city. They came upon us. My family and I were innocents, Father. They tortured and branded me as one of them, leaving me to die in the pit.
I fear I had no choice, my son. They were close to exposing all I had built and finding our rebellion's stronghold in Rome. I had to sacrifice the few to save the many, as so many were relying on me to continue our fight. I am so sorry, my son.
Overwhelming human emotions wash over Hector as his love for his once son and the regret of a long-buried secret shatters their bond.
It's time to go now, men. Restrain them.
Wait, I did what you asked. What do you mean it's time to go? What of the project? What of the cure? I'm to be given my freedom, my life back. You can't do this.
Did you think this was a full-scale effort? That this cure was to bring peace? Do you really believe after all this time, after all this fighting, we would just stop? Do you really believe your kind and all the innocent blood you've spilled deserve to be human again? Our scientists could not replicate it. They could only make enough of this experimental cure for this mission. Don't you see? All of this was meant just for the both of you. We didn't even know if it would work. You see, now that our cure has worked, you have become mortal once again. With your powers neutralized, we can finally put an end to this once and for all. You see, men, it's already been decided. As leaders of the rebellion, you need to be made an example of. You will both be executed before the order. Your kind and this history of darkness will finally
Christian.
fall
No.
forever.
Father.
Thank you for joining Paradox Rising Radio Podcast. Please join us next week for another story to help keep you company in the dark.